Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Simate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavati Paskatyari Satarine. So today is full moon day in Vrindavan, and we are meditating on how to open centers in Krishna consciousness in the Western world, like Prabhupada did, and he asked his disciples to do so. The power he gave to his disciples to open centers was so surprising because Prabhupada was a pure devotee. He had a life of preparation. How many books he translated. So what's the big deal for him to open a center somewhere? Really nothing. But then he had some disciples who just joined Krishna consciousness, and within the first half year, he sent them out to open another center somewhere. He gave them that enthusiasm. He gave them that love, that trust, that empowerment. I mean, Shivananda Prabhu was sent, he just was an army dropout, went to Canada, had $1,000, and he proposed, Prabhupada, why should I not go and spread your movement in Europe? So he went and took a flight to Amsterdam. He got some newspaper clip in Amsterdam for chanting in the street. The guy was he didn't know nothing, And then after the newspaper clip, he sent to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was so pleased. A young guy gets a newspaper clipping about chanting Hare Krishna. And then he went to Berlin. And he opened the temple in Berlin, Shivananda Prabhu. He was temple president of mine, so I know very well. He was a very dedicated devotee, very loving. I have very fond memories of his. So, and he's still a devotee. So, Prabhupada's empowerment was just amazing. So, when you go to the Western world and you want to make a place, you have to have that drive. I want to do it. I will do it if it takes 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, whoever. I'm going to give you one example. We opened a temple in Sao Paulo 18 times. Means 17 times the temple was closed. Now it was closed the 18th times. Now we moved to a farm outside of Sao Paulo. But can you imagine? You want to do something, get it done. Because a Krishna conscious center is like a hospital. There are sick people, they need a hospital. So you are the doctor or doctor of the soul, master of the mind. Your precious benediction is very hard to find. Do you make it very easy for all to understand? Your mercy has no boundary. Your kindness has no end. That was Prabhupada behind us. And so you want to open a center? Good, great. Where? Doesn't matter. There's souls everywhere. The souls need Krishna everywhere. So just be enthusiastic and prepared to live in a hut or in a house or in a palace or in a castle. Whatever you will get, whatever comes your way, what Krishna will give, what is time, place, and circumstance. I know that sounds a little wild, but look at the temples. There are some temples, they're huge, huge castles. Or here in India, they're making temples now. You cannot even imagine how big they are. And then there's other preaching centers. There's somewhere in Paharganj, somewhere in a little corner, and there's somebody preaching Krishna conscious. Actually, the Paharganj temple grew. It was a very small preaching center there, but from Chaitanya Gaudiya, now it's a huge place, 2 houses, and they're expanding. And so Krishna consciousness has a power and potential everywhere because Krishna is a supreme controller. So he's really part. We should not think that when we open a temple of Krishna consciousness, we are on our own. It's an embassy of the spiritual world. An embassy representing Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Sri Gauranga Nityananda, our respective Guru Parampara, our Guru. So, and one thing is very important, we should also know how to relate with other Vaishnavas from other missions when they come across or when we come across their path. Because like sometimes we have many missions in the same city of different organizations or different branches of the parampara. I mean, go to Mayapur, and in Mayapur you have approximately 80 branches on one road. Like each house is kind of becoming a different branch of Lord Chaitanya's group. And a branch means it's self-sustaining. There's a dynamics. There's a leader, there's a pujari, there's a cook, there's a collector, there's a preacher, and they make the thing work. So, in other words, yes, Lord Chaitanya Mission has a vision of union in diversity. The stress is on diversity. The union is still somewhat neglected. We have to work more on the union part, because sometimes when preachers are in minority areas where they're like against the Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, atheists, this and that, then sometimes the devotees relating to each other from different missions, that gives strength to each other. That is a great support. Even in the world, the people, they should understand that the Vaishnavas, they're a religion, a world religion. It's not Hinduism. It is not Sanatan Dharma only. It is the path of believing in a personal God who can save us. And you can call him Vishnu, Nishinga, Krishna, Balarama, Rama, Mahaprabhu. You can have many names for him, but he is the one who can save us. And we believe in him, and we chant his name, we make artik to him, we offer our food to him, we study the holy scriptures coming from him, we celebrate his holy days like appearance and disappearance and all this. And that we all do, doesn't matter in what place. And we don't need to belong to the same organization. In how many organizations Janmashtami is celebrated? In how many homes they follow Ekadasis? You cannot restrict this Krishna conscious philosophy to a particular structure, institution, or that. Because it's not. It's a world religion in the truest sense of the word. And the teachers, basically, they all teach the same, but they're independent from each other. Because you have to be independent, just like every father, mother, and children, they're independent from every other father, mother, and children. This is the nature. God has arranged it that way. Each family has to sustain itself, and sometimes one family may help the other in emergency, but still in the end, each family has to sustain itself. So in the same way, each branch of the mission has to sustain itself. But also, we are having common interests, common grounds. So when we are preaching anywhere, we should always have friendly relationship with other Vaishnavas who are doing something similar what you do, or different approach, but in the same city or in the same country. We should always have their telephone number. Says, hey Prabhu, how things are going for you? All glories to Sri Guru in Gauranga. That's the greeting for every devotee, Guru in Gauranga. We believe in every branch the same holy formula, Hare Krishna, and usually also Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada Ki Jai, and like that. If I want to speak to a disciple of my Gurudev, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, I have to issue the signal, I love Prabhupada, and then immediately we have friendship. If I'm relating to somebody from the Gaudiya Math, I have to send the signal, I love Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, because he's our common point. And immediately friendship is established. If I meet a Vaishnava from another Sampradaya, for example, I say, I love Ramanuja Acharya. Then they will look at you, oh, you love Ramanuja? Yes? Oh, very good. Then you must be a good person. And even when it comes to people like Swami Narayan, if I'm going to people who are worshippers of Swami Narayan, then I should give them a feeling, I respect Swami Narayan. of course, like this, because we are just a few people working on behalf of Dharma, Sanatan Dharma. We are just a few, and we should be helping each other, and we should be available for each other, at least for communication, at least for appreciation, because we follow a principle which is very sacred, and that is Vancha kalpaturubhyascha kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. That I will offer my most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of the Lord's devotees, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill the desire of everyone, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. This mantra is for every Vaishnava. It's not only for your god brother who lives in the same temple. In the temples, you'll see sometimes devotees in some missions, they offer each one obeisances like this to each individual living in the temple, or sometimes only to the sannyasi in the temple president. But this is a universal mantra, and if you understand the universal mantra, if you understand that, then you know how to behave. Then you know what is Trinata Piso Nichanata Aurora Pisa Hishnuna Amanina Manadina Kirtina Yat Saidadi. You understand? You have to respect the others. Doesn't matter, they may do everything different for preaching. They may have a different style. They may even chant a different mantra. Of course, there's many mantras and so and so. But we are believing in the Maha Mantra, but we also believe in that mantra, Oh my Lord, please let me be an instrument of your love. Because if we want to be in the universal approach of transcendental families, then we should also, anybody who is aspiring for a personal service relationship with God, in any tradition and through any name, we should have a positive approach towards them. Otherwise, we are sectarian. And sectarianism is the worst enemy of truth. Then you say, me and mine, my guru and myself, we are the ones. And this is not the conclusion. The conclusion which our acharyas have given to us is that whoever chants the holy name, we should respect them, Rupa Goswami says. We should respect them in our heart and mind. Whoever is initiated devotee, whoever is following the principles, we should offer our dandavats to them, our humble obeisances. And whoever is not criticizing anyone, we should listen to them and take advice from them. We should worship them because they're those devotees who are not offensive. Some devotees, they are in the neophyte platform. They always find faults with others. They think, I'm a great devotee, the others aren't. Whereas the real great devotees, they feel that they are not devotees and they admire all the others. So you see, that's the extremes, you know. There's actually extremes. Approaching spiritual paths, the razor's edge, there are extremes. And there are people who you don't want to relate to, or you just have no appreciation for the way they do things. But if they are devotees, then still respect them in the mind. Just keep a respect in the mind and keep some safe distance from them. That is fair enough. But never go in the world of criticizing other devotees, making them look bad, or showing your own superiority over them, because that may breed the seed of aparat, and from that seed of aparat, more problems will come. So, other devotees are in city, in your country. Write down their names. Find out who are the leaders, what is their contact telephones. Let them know you exist. Maybe you visit them or whatever, and start your preaching. So this is a very good, important point. Because if you're in a city and you're preaching Krishna consciousness, and then you meet another person, he says, oh, I've been to a temple, they're also chanting Hare Krishna. And then you make a remark, oh, that's not it, this is not the right people. Then you're not doing a good preaching. Then you're disturbing the faith of somebody in someone. So this is not the idea. Krishna consciousness is we give the best we have with a lot of love. And if Krishna wants somebody to be trained up by you or to live in your temple, he will direct them in their heart. Everything goes through the heart. This is a process of the heart. You know that. So therefore, yes, it is not easy, because to preach with love is also it's an empowerment. So you have to pray for that empowerment, that you may preach with so much love that somebody will come forward and want to help you. Because if you really want to have a temple, well, the temple means Prabhupada in the beginning did everything. He cooked, he cleaned, he received the people, he gave the classes, he did everything. He even went out in the park to chant. So, yes, but when you want to have a temple and you want the thing to grow, you need somebody to go for the boga, you need somebody to do the pujari seva, you need somebody to make garlands, you need somebody to get literature. Oh, there's so many activities, there's so much to do in Krishna consciousness. And that's why preaching is so good, because by preaching, people come forward. Like Satsvarup Goswami, he came to Prabhupada, says, can I type? And Prabhupada said, yes. And he gave him something to type. He brought it back and asked, oh, Prabhupada, thank you very much. Do you have anything else? And Prabhupada said, yes, I have more. And he gave him a pile of papers, like enough for 1 year of typing. So, yes, the devotees, they're always giving service to others. That is how you become Krishna consciousness, by typing, well, by serving, by doing something. Then you get Krishna's mercy, more and more and more and more. So the good relationship with others, devotees, is very important. Enthusiasm, have some great regard for how this is one of the important things. If you want to relate to others, you have to have regard of how the mantra came to them. Because for everybody, when they get the mantra, it's like second birth. So if their second birth is not appreciated by somebody else, then they're not a sadhu for them. You can only be a sadhu, or somebody can be a sadhu for you, if they have appreciation how the holy name has come to you and how you're being engaged in Krishna's consciousness. These little points I'm making here, they're essentials. They're the basis of a good new temple. Because first of all, we have to have a good foundation to make a temple upon. A temple is not a wall and a roof on it and an altar in it. No. A temple is a place of divine shelter, where there is sadhu sangha, where there is Srimad Bhagavatam, where there is whatever there is. I've seen temples so simple, little huts where devotees were chanting, which made your heart melt, and they had not even a solid roof on it. So temples is not something you can judge by just some external element, whether how big, how good a temple is. Because the real quality of the temple is the heart of the preacher. Therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I want to open a temple in the heart of everyone. You remember that statement? So now apply that. Sri Guru Gauranga, they want to establish temples through the representatives who have made a temple in their own heart already. So if you have a temple in your heart already, then wherever you live becomes a temple also. The first temple in Colombia was a garage. Devotees came from Venezuela and they had no money, and they rented a garage with a bathroom inside. And that's where they were living. And that's where Srila Harijan Swami became a devotee, who later became the first spiritual master there. So in a garage, they used to sleep and then go out and preach, because that's how it started. So the biggest movement in South America started in a garage. So you have to see, this is the divine plan. It is not predictable. Now, if somebody would have gone to Colombia with $100,000, say, buy a house, this is a new temple, Prabhupada's pictures here, deities, that would also be nice. But the devotees who came from Venezuela, they didn't have any money, just enough to rent a garage. Okay, there the movement started. Askalita Acharya is still there. He's a preacher, a powerful preacher of Krishna consciousness. And he comes from those days when the movement just started. So, don't be afraid to go into a garage and preach. Don't be afraid to live in a mud hut or in a straw hut somewhere in a village and preach. And if Krishna wants things to change, you see, everything's there in this world in plenty. There's abundance everywhere. Even though sometimes it looks like a little tight, but in reality, in this world, everything is in abundance. And we have to learn how to administrate it according to the sweet will of the Supreme Purusha. That is the temple. There is on the altar the Supreme Enjoyer, the Purusha, and we are all the Prakriti, all the servants, including temple presidents, sannyasis, and gurus. We are the Prakriti part, and Krishna is the Purusha, and then we work all together to make the Purusha happy, and the Purusha is expanded sometimes as Radha and Krishna. Sometimes he only shows up as Mahaprabhu or Gaurnitai or Jagannath, Subhadra Balaramaji. So there's different deities, but this we come into discussing another day. But the main on the altar is Vishnu Tattva, is the Purusha. And everybody else is Prakriti. And serving the supreme servant of the Purusha. And the supreme servant of the Purusha is Radharani. So therefore Radharani and the representative of Radharani, that is the spiritual leader. Diksha, Shiksha, Gurus, they are all representatives of Radharani. So we are going forward and we study how to open a temple in the Western world. All the basic things I've been spoken about here, they are just preparation steps, just to get your consciousness aligned with what is the basics. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, uda parashta vegam, etam veganjo vishaheta dira sarvam apimam pritivim chashishyat. Very important verse of Srila Rupa Goswami, that how to preach by controlling the speech, controlling the anger, controlling the mind, controlling the tongue, belly, genitals. And when you control them all in the service of Krishna, then you can instruct others anywhere in the world. So we are going for that. This is our way. Even if we have committed some previous life or some mistakes, but this is our way. We're following Rupa Goswami, Upadeshamrita. Shikshastakam, Upadeshamrita. These are the basics for a temple. They will make you successful. Anyway, I leave it to this for now, and I hope it has brought you some creative impulse for starting your center when it's time for that. Don't be afraid. Lord Chaitanya wants ambassadors everywhere. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jagat Guru, Srila Prabhupada, and all other Vaishnavas. Ki Jai.